My name is Clark Barlow. I'm the chef and owner of Heirloom Restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina, one of the greatest food cities in the world. Come visit us.
So I had some local North Carolina pecans from King Cole's farm, and then I had some maple syrup that's local from Roland's Row Farm, and I had sunchokes from Boy and Girl Farm. So I just sort of put everything together, and I did a sunchoke and pecan cookie sandwich with some roasted white chocolate chips. I did a salted maple buttercream for the inside, and then a roasted white chocolate milk crumb and sunchoke apple butter.
Some quick grits from Anson Mills. This is the blue corn grits. Little crispy Bitten's ham. Rendered some of that ham down and made a little red-eye gravy with it, and pickled some shiitakes. Put it on top, so that's what we're looking at there.
This year I brought for the Charleston Food and Wine Festival Springer Farm chicken roulade stuffed with a house-made sausage, ricotta salata, some local macro celery, North Carolina apple, vincotto, and EDO.
All right, everyone.
I am a huge fan of North Carolina ingredients. I brought some Doc Porter's gin and a little bit of Doc Porter's vodka in for this weekend, which are both made in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Jeff Alexander with Free Range Brewing out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So this is called Who Do You Need? It is a sourdough red yeast fermented IPA. We use sourdough culture from Duke's Bread. It's 207, 208 years old, from Duke's Bread in Charlotte, North Carolina. It has a really nice tart flavor to the beer that comes across like a Meyer lemon. And then we dry hop it significantly to add to it, making it like a sour IPA.
I'm representing Charlotte, North Carolina here at the CRVA tent. I think my all-time favorite ingredients, I mean, it's really hard to kind of answer that because we have so many great farmers and artisans around town. Whenever Tim Griner brings in fish, I immediately go, if he's got the true American red snapper, I jump in on that.
So right now, red buds have just come into season, and like we just showed them to you just a little bit ago, it's these really pretty, like you see I got all sorts of them. So all these red bud flowers, they just came into season and they taste like green English peas. So they have this really neat sweet pea flavor to them, and for us it's trying to showcase this ingredient that you wouldn't typically see in a lot of restaurants, you wouldn't see in a lot of food festivals. We're trying to show it off and introduce it to people.
North Carolina is making incredible gin. You know, gin's like our spirit. All the North Carolina distilleries, they're just making great gin. And so that's, to me, I'm a big gin enthusiast, so that gives me a lot to play with.
All the farms around Charlotte are just stone's throw from the restaurant. And we're getting immaculate produce. I mean, one of my favorites is Newtown Farms in Weddington, North Carolina, which is, you know, literally a 20-minute drive from the restaurant door. And Sammy, the farmer there, is doing amazing vegetables. And the trick to that is when you're getting stuff from farms like that, don't mess it up. That's our trick. Treat it with respect, treat it humbly, and let the produce and stuff speak for itself.
It might sound weird, but my favorite all-time local ingredient would be baby kale from Street Fair Farms. And we made salads with it, we put it in sandwiches, we made pesto with it. I just eat it like that.
So I think my favorite ingredient right now, Zach Gadberry of Una alla Volta makes us cultured butter. And we use it for our oysters. We're going to use it tomorrow. It's so dynamic. It brings different layers of fat into anything that we're using it with.
I think, wow, that's a great question. I think that Charlotte's mixology scene is pretty amazing right now. And I think the reason for that is because of all the North Carolina spirits. I think right now, last time I checked, we had over 60 legal distilleries in the state of North Carolina. And the stuff that's coming out is just really amazing. We have everything from vodka to gin to whiskey, bourbon. I've heard rumors of absinthe and Amaros. The other part, I think, is the North Carolina produce, which, when utilized in cocktails, really sets us above a lot of people around the U.S.
Yeah, I think Charlotte has an emerging food scene. I think we're a growing city. I think the influence of Johnson & Wales has helped. I I think we've got a lot of new young chefs with a lot of great ideas working. So I think we're coming a long way, and I'm really excited about it.
So what I think that makes Charlotte special is all these great chefs that are popping up and coming to Charlotte. You have Rocco Whalen, you have Joe Kindred, you have Paul Verica. These guys are all James Beard nominated chefs, and it's becoming a culinary mecca.
It's so great to see so much Charlotte talent here at Charleston Food and Wine, because we all know that Charlotte is a fantastic food city, but being able to showcase it to the customers here, what more could we ask for?
Well, I'm a big, passionate believer in homegrown businesses, especially in the brewery scene. So Charlotte proper probably has about 40 different breweries. Charlotte started with just a few breweries just a few years ago and has really exploded and is becoming to be an internationally recognized spot for good quality craft beer.
I really think the farmers influence what I do more than anything. You know, there's a lot of people growing some really good products that are really kind of helping us get to that point. You know, I think it takes a whole from the ground up, like I was saying. You know, you got to have farmers that are starting to think about the flavor of food and what they're selling to people and the variety that they're giving us. So I think that the inspiration for me is really just the guys that I'm working with locally that, you know, are putting in the work in the fields and raising the stuff that makes my job a lot easier.
I've spent a few years out of the restaurant business, and you know, to get back in it, Charlotte's always home, and there's a close-knit group of chefs there, and I'm just honored just to be even a small part of that.
Cool thing is we are just the toddler. You know, we're really just getting started. It really makes for an interesting dynamic. There's kind of no rules right now because everybody's so new. We don't have a single thing that binds us. That's what makes it really kind of cool. There are no rules. You have a lot of guys doing like Bob doing like really creative, more on the molecular side. I'm doing like really classic stuff from like the 40s. You have Colleen, who puts like a feminine touch on everything she does. It's just, so there's not really a theme, and that's what kind of makes it cool. There's something for everybody.
Well, the Charlotte community by far is one of the best areas. I mean, ever since I got here, it's nothing but kind of brotherly, sisterly love. So many great chefs, so many friends, everybody I've ever met since we got here. I think what Charlotte has to offer of us young chefs, and we're really starting to elevate the level of food that we have in the city. I think what we're doing is really pushing the level and bringing the city where it needs to be. We're all different in the style, but the thing that makes us different is we actually work together. It's never against, it's all about help, promote. Just everybody's food is just like, there's nothing ever negative because you learn and you live off of one another. Being a part of Charlotte and culinary scene is just amazing. I don't know, you just feel at home.